All right, John, Jack, McCaig here. Jesus Christ Trust. Thank you for the likes already. That's great. And thank you for the support. The people that are supporting. All right, Jay, you were here last week, but yeah, they've been. The Empire, it really does not like the rebellion. You see that, right? They Empire hates the rebellion. What? They don't like it. Pauletta, Pamela, the twin towers of God power. Thank you for the support, ladies. I can't. There's no way I can thank you enough. It's just really the Empire hates the rebellion. You know what I'm saying? They hate it. They hate it. It's like every day they make it harder on me. It's just a joke, but uh, the production of this our suffering is what propels us forward. So don't forget that, because that's the methodology. No one likes it. Uh, Greetings, Sean. Jesus Christ. Yes, Pamela. That's really. Just thank you so much for the support. It truly can't even say how important it is. Happy day, Pauletta. Yeah, it is a happy day, and it's good that we're here. Able to do this work. It is a happy day. That's right. Thank you. And so that's hard to, why the topic isn't that easy to talk about, countdown to Judgment Day, but we're going to get into it. Okay. Da, 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 ha, ha. All right, Alan, it's great to have you here. Boy, it's like, actual rocket fuel taking us out of the dome. Love it. Uh, Frank, good to have you here, Jay Baba. Jason, very good to have you. You're here all the time. That's fantastic. Uh, Frank in the house, that's right. And George is here. God bless you too. West Coast brother. Yes, to see you again. So yeah, Sarasota Gathering, May 3rd through the 10th. I'm looking forward to it. It's never easy on any of us, is it? You take a pilgrimage, you meet the other people who love God, and there's always these hurdles in the way. There's always this wonderful stuff too. So looking forward to that. Anyone need information on it, direct message me in the classroom over at Liberty Aid Academy. It's going to be a small group. Just saying. No one wants all the truth. It's very funny, but it's difficult. Some of it is so not what we've been told that it really, yeah, really causes us to shy away from all the nonsense in here and not really have a taste for it anymore. Like we lose our taste for all the things we've been told or great and all that. That's normal. But we increase our taste for God and the truth and reality. So I'm gonna get into a few things today. I want to read something out of Mayor Baba. I think it's you know, God speaks. Jamie, good to have you. So I just want to read this piece in the back here. Uh and just to try and bring a level of honesty of where just we are, as so you can understand easily. JC, Lord of my life. Okay, is that Maryland? I forget. So in the back of God Speaks are different supporting pieces, and this is the number 33. Number 33 here. Advent as of God as Avatar. All right. All right. Yeah, it is Maryland. Okay, look at that. Okay, good to have you all. Let me do this reading here. It's in the back, and it's right after. It's on the opposite the page where they talk about the spiritual numbers on each plane and so on. So it's in the back. Advent of God as Avatar. The universe has come out of God. God has not come out of the universe. Illusion has come out of reality. Reality has not come out of illusion. God alone is real. The universe by itself is illusion. God's life lived in illusion as Avatar and as Perfect Master is not illusory, whereas God's life lived in creation as all animate and inanimate beings is both real and illusory. Illusion, comma, illusory life, and God's life in illusion are not and cannot be one and the same. Illusion has no life and can have no life. Illusion is illusion and is nothing by itself. Illusory life means life in illusion, with illusion, surrounded by illusion. And although it is life, as experienced by the soul in creation, it is illusory life. But God's life lived in illusion is not illusory, because in spite of living the illusory life, God remains conscious of his own reality. God is absolutely independent, and the universe is entirely dependent upon God. Yet when the perfect masters affect the descent of God on earth as Avatar, they make reality and illusion interdependent, each upon the other. And thus it is that his, capital H, so God, his infinite mercy and unbounded love are eternally drawn upon by those who are immersed in illusion. Let me say that again. And thus it is that his infinite mercy and unbounded love are eternally drawn upon by those who are immersed in illusion. Between God and the universe, infinite mercy and unbounded love act as a prominent link, which is eternally made use of by men who become God, Sadhgurus, perfect masters, or Ketubs, and God who becomes man, Avatar, Christ, or Rasul. And so the universe becomes the eternal playmate of God. Though this prominent link, through this prominent link, the Avatar not only established life in his divine play, but also established law in illusion. Established law in illusion. And this law, being established by the Godman or Avatar, is a law of the lawless infinite. And it is eternally real and at the same time illusory. It is this law that governs the universe, all this ups and downs. Construction and devastation are guided by this law. At the cyclic period, God's independent absoluteness is made to work upon this law by the God-man as God's will. And this means that anything and everything that the Avatar wills is ordained by God. This is what Jesus says, I am one with the Father. You see, is once you know what's happening, when you see the wheel spinning of time and the cycle of where you are and God tells you what to do, you simply do it. That's all. I mean, how can you possibly fathom what would be the best thing to do at this time? You have to go according to God. It's just unfathomable. What are you up to? You're making us be in a 64-year time loop that repeats what? It's unfathomable. Like, what is again, it's a fair reality, and we play this very game, but it's really quite something. It's the illusion that that passage was talking about, and if all we have is this illusion, then that's not life. That's what he says. That's not life. That illusion of life, that is not life. There's only life when there's God, and without God, there's no life. There's just this illusion, and that's not life. That's no life that anyone wants, you know? Okay, we're under the evil empire until we die. Oh, that's not gonna work out positively for anyone if that's all we got. That's just not gonna work out, you know? So, you fight the empire and it's funny, I watched some of Andor on, Disney. So they sent me a $3 a month thing. I'm like, $3? Oh, whoa, I never thought they'd allow something like that to get out there on Disney. What that is it is like has the, that has the spiritual downlifting of the book 1984, but yet in visual form, you know? It's like, "Oh my god, this is reality, the illusion." And they maintain that illusion of power, until, someone says no more. I'd rather die than live your illusion. I'm not gonna go for it no more. No, the answer no. Uh, and so, it also doesn't make sense to engage in the fight they want us to engage in. It doesn't, "Oh, well, you're the one with all the weapons. Of course you want us to fight you with weapons." It's like, that would be stupid. Uh you made them all on both sides, and you kept the good ones and gave us the crappy ones. Like, why would we do that's we're laid out on a grid, and you that's not cool. So, so in that illusion, if there's no God, that's an illusion. It's not worth living. It has even if you yay, we got part of the rebellion got a little freedom over here for about 4 seconds. That's just not gonna do it either, you know what I'm saying? Like, and all the land, all the properties, they make us pay for food and water and, electricity and everything. And get to work on a hamster wheel from now until, there is nothing else. We're just gonna speed up the wheel as you run. It's like, okay, is there a way to slow down? Yeah, you have to, go on the slower hamster wheel, you do more evil stuff for it. Just like, uh, that doesn't sound good either. Two bad choices. So we need God to step in and help. That's what it is. We need to see what the situation is and not accept it anymore. Not expect and not accept our spiritual, disunion from God. We need that information of what's coming up and, you know, uh, in Star Wars, just the Force or whatever, right? The Jedis, the ones with the Jinn in them, that's like the top ones of them, but truly the ones that win in this war and here are the ones that are with God and accept the truth and because it's difficult. It's difficult and it's easy. Once you accept the truth, then you don't have any illusions left to take up your time and so on. You begin to think along the thoughts of truth, and your reality changes to that level uh, of just accepting truth over here, not accepting anything else. Um, And that's when things really begin to change because you're not doing things the way you would have done them before. Your actions change. You see what I'm saying? And that only really occurs, yeah, you can see people's proof and stuff. And you can see all the Liberty Age, Jesus Christ Trust, all this information. Oh, the countdown clock, most importantly, should I take that off? It's like so, uh, it's like a mind crusher up in there, all like, it crushes all of your programming all day, like a mulcher. It's just grinding away on it as you see the time ticking away. And what's to do in this time? And the empire is just like, okay, we are blowing the last trumpet and we're going all in on, spending on defense. And uh, we think China's a big enemy to have. And so let's consider it, at least spend like it. Yeah. We do need some things, but we don't need you buying more planes. We could use like the homeless people have homes. I don't know what's so hard about that. Like, you could quit the charade of debt. You could stop these things, that make us your slaves. You could. Everybody knows now, so uh, it's just this problem until death, and God's the only way out. So anyway, that's what I wanted to bring that information in because reality steps into the illusion, and the illusion has a kickback, like, you know, and it gets tied together here, doesn't it? Oh, hey, you only get out of here if you handle the illusion this way. If you win the game, that's how you win. The solution isn't changing; it's in place for a reason, and it's very difficult to accept. I'm not saying it's not. It's difficult. What for me to accept it and then to tell people about it? Come on. It's so annoying in a way, like just that whole part of it. Just how hard people are programmed to not even want to discuss the truth ever, and yet find out later they all know really anyway and they're running the game. It's things scale up to such a level of infinity. And that's why there are 8 parts of 8 time here, and we're headed to the last infinity, and you realize God's been running this whole show. You're like, "What the" you had us fight an evil empire, and then, okay, that's yeah, let me out if that's what you're saying. Do you wanna get out yet? Yes. Ready. Ready. Thank you for playing the game that hard because, you definitely made me ready to leave. Okay. Like, where's my boarding pass already? So that part is creates a longing for God at the end of it. It gets your actions right between now and then. It's like, oh man, that's forever. But then it's like time goes by. And it's like it was what is it, like 10.5 years since I first came out with a date. So boom, just 2 years just bumped away there. Uh, we were in India a year ago, and we're gonna see each other and gather in May, in early May. So this time does pass, and my goal, my job, right, is that you experience God as real, and I think that's happened. Since people have taken the time to meet with me and stuff, and I'm not saying I'm anything special or nothing like that. Is because what you're saying is someone's more special than someone else, which no one is. Uh, Meaning everyone goes up the spiritual hierarchy up and out. Everyone at some point. You see what I'm saying? So uh, the biggest saints become the biggest sinners, Bear Mama says. So everyone's leaving. Everyone that's in here is going to take whatever, however many lifetimes of time and all that stuff and all this continuous ladder of souls in here is going to continue until you leave the dome, and then there's no time out there, and then you're like, you get free from time. it's gone. And what's this? All the problems are in here where time is like hunger and oh, I'm hungry. I don't want to be hungry. I'm thirsty. I guess I got to drink some. All those things are gone with the illusion of the body is left behind. Let me check in with what's going on here. You got this security guard to lock up like a Tesla robot. I know that's for a fact. Yeah, this place is getting infinite. What's the thing that you? It's funny. I'm just using a popular reference, but on Disney Channel there's this show called Andor, and like the perfect master who is sort of hidden behind the scenes is his goal is to produce more suffering to the people. That's his goal. And, when I come out with the truth, they gotta put that truth on lockdown, and they gotta make a show of force, uh, to show you that's don't go that way, that causes a problem for us over here. Like, if you head to God and, uh, you strictly go under the power of God, they have a real problem with that because that's when they actually experience problems, not before. So, they get everything on lockdown. They just pretended they didn't. "Oh, yeah, go about your freedom, no problem. Well, how can we possibly keep track of everyone? Haha." But they do and have, and that continues, so you really just want to "Hey, enough." Congratulations on wanting to do that. I don't want to hang around while you want to do that, okay? All I want to be is not here. So, if all we have is this continual 1984 type slavery that just they constantly are tightening the screws, that's no good. So that I think I've shown, in a lot of work, but then you have to show remedy that God is a remedy. They would have put the screws through us, they would have created the system and all the paperwork and all the application processes and all this stuff that they would have control of, and then they want to use all of those different processes to lock us out, to make us invisible, to not give us what we're due, and just to keep everything for them. And so you have to go with God in order for them to do it, because otherwise they're overcome by their own self-diagnosis of eternal slavery, that you represent a problem to their psyche, their inner will to continue on the continuous hamster wheel infinitely. You represent a problem for that by not walking in lockstep along with the script. You represent a problem. So they just you're messing up the system, and their goal is to cause us such suffering that they wear down the edges of crystal our crystallization of mind, that they wear down the edges of our diamond tipped knowledge of being in this diamond dome and with God. And those edges ain't never going to wear down. After they become made of crystal, they're never going to wear down. Instead, they'll get sharper and it's going to create a problem for you. That's like diatomaceous earth is this type of powder you can get, and you put it down in your plants, and it's so sharp that the bugs die by touching it and just slice themselves to bits. Whereas you can handle it, it's just a powder. But on that level, it's a real problem. So, when you become one with the Father of Christ crystal, your mind crystallizes, so you become like that diatomaceous earth. That then to get too close, well, God's going to slice them up as needed. You know, hopefully in a merciful way. That's what I see with God, but I don't really care anymore. I just don't want your annoyance anymore. Like, just be fair. Like, why can't we have the same access to like the internet, food, and Everything's free for you in your whole life. Why can't you give us the same access? We're not a problem in here. We get the boarding pass to leave, so we're gonna keep on calling God down as you increase our suffering, and that's what gets us out of here. God steps in and says, "Enough for the suffering. Thanks, you did very well." That's the same test every time, so it's not harder for you or for anyone else. That's the way God rationalizes all of this. That it is a-okay. And who am I to say that it's not? It worked for me, and I just come out first, winning the game, and maybe it would have been better if I woke up a little later and just had like 2 minutes to go, you know? Whew, okay, yeah, let's get out of here. Thank God I didn't have to know that for a decade. So, uh, I don't know, it's very hard to know the truth and share the truth and have it absolutely, be almost universally rejected and then realize that's the difficulty level of the game. It's like, that is too much, God. It speaks to a difficulty level of so hard. But then when you switch over, you accept that difficulty level. You're like, well, God can come overcome anything. So I'm going to go with God because that's what's needed to overcome everything in here is, some force has to overcome everything because everything is just keeping you in here. So God's the only force that could do that. Once you commit fully to God, God commits fully to you, and then you see the outcomes in your actions. So, I mean, again, it's really great to see the Poe family house get to where it, is a eternal sanctuary for God, and to be accepted by the government and so on by that, and realize, well, then, no, this is we accept that. Okay, we accept you're more powerful than us. Fine, don't pray like that again. It's like, yeah, don't make me have to. What about that? How about you could, omit the seven deadly sins from your, you know, instead of that being your field manual for what to do during the day, why don't you stop doing them? But there has to be access to both sides in here. That's the test. And they have just unlimited access, don't they? Here at the end, it's just infinitely horrible. The eighth inning, in the infinite inning, it's just becomes very difficult. And I'm completely experiencing that, and I'm sure that other people are. So that's where the suffering reaches, really zenith point, and you begin to cry out for God's help, and then God hears and helps. And then that becomes a general state of awareness and formation of action is okay. What am I going to do now? you know, you can run it up the flagpole to God, or you can run it up the flagpole to the spiritual hierarchy and get an answer. And people, that have done things in their advancement spiritually can tell others how you achieve them. You can take people to where you are. Hey, this is how I got here. So I filled out the paperwork. This is how they did it. This is death prayer. This is what happened. And you can tell people about that so you can take them by your truth and your proof. You can take them that far. You could take them up the plains by explaining it to them. And then that creates the fertile ground that becomes, the ground for their own individual miracle that is done on God's timing. Wouldn't it be great if we all got, the end miracle we deserve? But is it so great that you like get it? God is really that you're like still detained. You're still detained here. It's like, w- and I just met with God, and I totally don't want to be. It's like, yeah, but you are. And so they you have to help out as the people are in here. Help out by, doing your best and showing what's happening, what's going on with you to the other people continue on the path of God too, and sharing that time with each other. So because it does have an effect on us. There's so few of us doing it. It's the rebellion is almost, it's like The angels dancing on the head of a pin, not very many of them. Uh, the rest of them aren't pinheads like us. We just stick with it. uh, so anyway, kudos to you for continuing on. I know it's a period of time of suffering until God steps in and handles that miracle, but you still just keep walking forward knowing that God is going to present the next miracle. That's what I have to do every time. And say, okay, so you're going to make things worse again. Like I should have known. And then God will say, well, here's okay, now that you really experience, how traumatic and horrible things are going to be, then here's the solution. Really, after you don't like, I just don't even care to employ whatever. I just get anything to get me out of here is fine. And nah, this is how you fix it. Okay. How relaxing to send a death prayer to people that are going to want to hear that as much as the countdown to Judgment Day. There's going to be equally warmly received. Thank you, God. Oh my goodness. That's the issues. His miracles are great. God is great, but I am still here. I want to dissolve into God. That's it. And that's what I'm saying. You want to get to God, and then you do. You experience God as real, and you interact with God, and you experience the bliss of God, and then you have to, you know, and you met with the infinite. And so now your suffering was horrible being here before, but now it's infinitely suffering because you're separated from what God is infinite. Now what you're separated from is infinite suffering. That's this last portion is you know the knowledge of God and what you're going to be experiencing. Hey, yay! I'm not in the body, and now I get to do that. But your suffering becomes infinite in the last 8 years. You see, because that knowledge is experience that God is real. And you're like, okay, this illusion is you know, yep, sign me up for the rebellion, fine. I'm not gonna go with the Empire, so I guess that's okay. A way to get me on your team. So, all right, Lee. Christ's blessings to all. That's a nice thing to say. Christ's blessings to you all. I agree with that. So, let's see. Couple things I want to go into. Anything that's on your mind, let me know. I just wanted to sort of my job is to, bring through the knowledge that God is real that you experience on your end, and some have now. So it's like, okay, so now you know. So you can understand what true suffering is by being knowing. In other words, they wiped our memory before. We didn't know, right? Memory wipe is real, but that's the one thing they can't wipe away. Once you're in here, in life, in a body, what you experience, God is real. So one thing they can't wipe out of your memory. They cannot wipe it out of your memory. Everything else can be wiped in some respect, but that cannot be wiped. And they live by control of the mind, you see, by constantly droning on about what's true, which never is, so that no one knows the truth. But the experience that God is real can never be. It goes the other way is what happens. You experience a deeper longing for to get back to God every day. It becomes more acute. The suffering becomes more difficult every day. You're like, go ahead and tell me what it is you want to do. What do you want me to do next? It's like, fine. I and then I come home, yeah, yeah, then you experience God. It's like, well, then tell me. Go ahead and tell me what the next thing is. Thank you, sort of. That's what it's like, you do want to get to God, that's true, but the pathway home is not easy because everyone else here is absolutely, completely solidified unmoving, unwavering, crystallized into their own script and unable to, move from their functionality of that. And that's totally unlike us, it's not like what we are at all. They're completely stuck where our only goal is to move forward. Even to the point it's like, okay, I have to do all this. What? You know, to move forward. They're not gonna like this. Nope, they're not gonna like this. But then we see, oh, okay, that was just to show God is real. That was my suffering was to get more acute, and so as do the next thing. And somehow this guy knew what to do. So okay, there is a spiritual hierarchy, and that's you ascending that spiritual hierarchy or your way out. That's your ascension. Uh, that's the process of it happening. Uh, if you want it, if you want to have it, because like Bear Mom say, yeah, the only reason to be here is God realization. But let me tell you what, you don't want it. So I'm not, that's a sales pitch, and that's kind of what it becomes. But even 1 second with God is worth. It doesn't. It's worth an infinite suffering because okay, that will our suffering will end. It becomes the knowledge. You see. Give me up late. Are there any extra chairs? Yeah, sit down, stand up is okay. Uh, Whatever you feel like doing here in the last amount of time that we have. So I like another thing that Mayor Obama said. Man is as stone until they accept and know the truth, and that is God is real. Like someone alive in a body and a stone, no difference. Unless they know God is real, right? They're like, okay, well, maybe God is real, like maybe, but you're not. Nothing solidifies your exit plan like knowing God is real. It's like, okay, wait, now I'm back. I thought the whole thing is we meet with God, and that's the win, and then yeah, no, there's levels to it, so you can absorb how excruciating the illusion is. And so when you get back home to God, you're like, okay, wait a second. This is so, I can't take it in. I have to just listen to what God says. Okay, tell me what to do. Fine. Because it's even if you know so much, you only know why what you're doing makes sense at the time and so on. But the real knowledge is get me out of the illusion, right? Yes, I'm signing me up for the rebellion. Okay, I'm leaving. Like, all right. Love you all. Uh, Praise Jesus Christ. Victory, Bear Baba. Yes. Victory to each one of you. It's the individual rebellion that works, find ourselves in. So, in an individual rebellion for an individual soul, it's hard to gather together and move forward. That's why having a gathering is such a rare occurrence, truly. It causes a lot of progress and difficulties. Progress is created by uh, our experienced difficulties, our suffering. So that has to happen if we're going to gather again. It's like, oh, hey, we propelled forward, and now, you know, God is completely real. Hey, what do you want to get into? Uh, like some Gobi Manchurian. So, uh, but no, it's great to it is an illusory game. In other words, it doesn't keep us trapped forever. God is infinite, can get us out of this seeming infinite illusion, but God can just pluck us out of here. Pluck, and we're gone. That's what's gonna happen. And out we go, and back to God. And this world, it is pretty oh, there's a lot going on here. It can get you all interested in different things here. But once you find God and experience God, boy, does that really that just makes it so you just want to get out of here at the fastest second possible. And that's, that's what Ella was saying. That's the experience right after, experiencing God is real. You're like, this is totally not that. This is no, not back here. Out there. This is not it. Can we cheer you up? Here, a little friend. Yes, that's what I'm saying. And that's what we're left with, some time with each other and moving forward. And there is no going back once you experience God is real. There's just, patiently moving forward and trying to, I don't know, honor God as you go, and that God has created this situation to move us forward, and somehow there are so few doing it, and we're finding ourselves as the ones doing it. It's just, kind of infinitely unfathomable at each stop. It's like you start to leave the masses and you realize, well, this is really totally not what I was expecting, to be so few up here in the spiritual advancement of, our consciousness. But you accept it, just like I've had to say on the avatar, what a don't like to say it, don't like to get into that because people have a reaction to it. Saying I'm Christ, it's something that we all must do, achieve Christ consciousness. Someone goes first to the game, they say, hey, you know how you shoot that basketball up there? You go like this. And then the next person is like, whoop, oh, dude, that's how you do it. It's a game that God made. So it's just like, here's how you play the game. And this is how you win the game and get out, because that's the goal. It is like a game. It is a game. But it's just so infinitely, if you have infinite resources of every type, it's not an easy game. You're playing for the infinite. You're playing for your soul. A community curry pie, yeah. Lee, Jack, can you recommend a book of the Bible that they removed on purpose? I don't believe in that whole part of the script, but I like Enoch. I've read Enoch, and I think I saw it's, talking about the Watchers, are adversaries in the game. And so if you want to get a little more knowledge on them, it has that in there, I think, in that. Like, because that's all they do. They're just these voyeurs. That's what I call them in drum circle. Hey, you brought a chair, you reincarnate. They're voyeurs. They're just watching. They're not engaging. They're not moving forward. They're holding their posts down. Not good. You've read some of Enoch, oh, but would like to oh, that's funny. Uh, Honestly, I don't find much of that Christian literature to be very helpful. I find Mary to more talk about it in a way that's, secular, making God secular, just making it what it is, and losing kind of the uh kinda like, don't make it a period piece about being in the Middle East is I don't need that. Just tell me what's going on. That's why I like Bear Mama is just a very direct, uh, approach to it without the weight of some religion or something like that. Because that whole mess obvious is gonna evade. That's why nobody reads the Quran. It has some interesting stuff in there, but, uh there's a lot of good books that God wrote about stuff. God Speaks is really, for me, what I read from today, really good. But there are other wonderful things. Like I got this off of Amazon recently. It's very affordable. Life at its best. It's shorter, has smaller bits in it, and same like that one with his book with the rainbow cover. Shorter stuff, but you know it's like, who could form words so perfectly? Impossible. Holy God, once you're reading words that are divinely linked together, you're like, someone did not write this. No way. You're reading perfection after like page after page. You're reading a field manual for the spiritual game. You're like, yeah, no, too perfect. God made it, So go find the too perfect book that really lays it out so it's more like a field manual for what you're doing on your day-to-day life rather than some, you know, history that never happened time period play that plays out where you're so okay, but during this play they actually meant this during the Roman time. So it's like, yeah, that whole thing gets old. Uh Having to oh, yeah, but it happened during that time, and yeah, and all that stuff didn't happen, before 1969. So when they say Mayor Mama says awakener of the age, he's like, "Hey, here, put you on some field manuals and off you go." Well, all right, okay. Let's see how you do. You wanna stop at each, religion along the path, you know what I'm saying, and read their many books and wear their many hats and uniforms and all that kind of business, you could do that, but you already did it. If you're reading my stuff, you already did it, and you got tired of it. So, uh, I find that more helpful, as so why I encourage you to read some of it on here because it's like, nah, it's too perfect. I've tried to lay it down with the help of Gabriel, like, yeah, no, didn't even come close. Didn't even had a message of God still. Nope. Nothing. Not even, directly from God. Okay. Without the period, without the makeup and the get-ups and, the mules and the animals, like, we don't have those now. So could you tell me what's going on? Thank you. I hope that helps. Like, because there's one called Avatar by Gene Adriel, which is written from a woman's perspective. It's sort of like a book, like Lord Mayor. It's a tale of her experience from a New York woman with not that much money or stuff, but very artistically engaged and had a similar type of man. She was in a good relationship and kind of the suffering life of simplicity they went through to be with their mama and what she experienced, what she felt. I talk about what a lot about what I think and what it is and logic and stuff like that. And this is a connection of head and heart. And so to read it from her side, is a lot of heart in it. And she's a very intelligent character woman. But I'm just saying it has head and heart, but it's really from the heart. That's a good one. I like her take on it's one book too, like Lord Mayor is like, I don't know, almost 10,000 pages of super many books. Is impossible that even exists of someone's life, uh, let alone the time to read it during a lifetime. So I recommend that. You could get it in paperback for pretty cheap too off of eBay. You can find it. It has an affordable type one. They're online too. His books. So I just find it that holding it in my hand helps because it's a spell book. If you're ready for this knowledge, you have a reaction afterwards. And so we're experiencing illusion of reality. We're in the body, so having a physical book for me can help in imparting that spell upon me. So anyway, how about that? All right. Good question. Thank you. Alan, I like to think about God Speaks as a book that is written for everyone, but specifically is written for you. Yeah, you being uh whoever reads what I just wrote. Exactly. It's for the very few. It really is so for the very few. And if you can read it, you have a spiritual reaction to it. I had picked it up in the past and it's just escaped me. I'm like, "This doesn't seem like that cool." It's like, "Ah." But then one day, it was like I read it one day, and I just had an absolute massive spiritual reaction to it where I walked around like a raving lunatic, laughing my head off like I did at the tomb of Mayor Baba, but for much longer, for hours. Couldn't believe what reality was. And it was just like, "And let me make sure you know." What? So, that was always there for whenever you're ready to get hit by that spiritual atomic bomb, as Bear Baba said, "I put a spiritual atomic bomb in that one." It's like, "Yes, you did." And when you're ready for the atomic bomb, go for it. It's a necessary stop on a path to realize, wait, who would know that God's plan exactly? And I mean, the numbers, wait, this is two, everything exactly. Who else would know but God, you see? So become, once you have written the actual script, you become one with the knowledge of God. Oh, this is a script that God made. You're trying to become one with God, and you're getting, to become one with the situation you're in. What did Mary Mama say? You don't spiritually advance until you accept where you are now. Only then can you move forward. So unless you know where you are now, someone's got to tell you, and what is written down in this book that then you have a moment of like your whole life's journey catches up right then, like whoop, all the past, everything catches up, and then somehow you reach the present. All lagging factors are caught up instantly at that second. And then you can then you why? Because you know what's going on here. And so, just like Bear Baba said, the only way you accept, what the truth is and where you are, can you move forward? Well, then you know where you are, so then only then can you move forward, you see? And, oh, okay. That's the script. Cool. So now you know what the script is and who's doing what and all that. Okay. You're like, okay, well, must be where this is like a chart of where you are in your spiritual evolution. You're like, I must be here. You know, that's helpful to have a spiritual map to do that in an exacting nature. You could go, oh, I'm here. And if someone else is following it, hey, you're like, oh, well, this is what happens when you're here and there. And you see it all makes sense and it's all in English. So it's easy to follow. And then, oh, I was able to look back and I don't know where the paperwork went now, but you're able to see backwards. Oh, I went up this plane on that, had this experience and that. What year was that? And then you work out the years that it happened and the locations where you experienced going up a plane. You're like, oh, it's just like what's in how could you know to write it down in a book if God hasn't preordained it's going to happen? Uh, and so that preordination or ordination is quite a heavy lift mentally. It's an impossible. You try to lift that mentally. You're like, I can't budge it. You give up. You're like, God is real. That's impossible, And so then you accept God's help and you bend the knee, your ego is dissolved and like, wait a second, there's no way I can win this game without God's help. No, it's like this is way over the top and like nothing I've been told. But actually so clear you realize, oh, I just take God's hand and then I can finish the last of this thing. Shoo, because I was thinking of this, no way out of here. So it's both easy and difficult when you experience God. It's easy because you're like, "I am leaving." Great. And it's hard because you're like, "I'm back here for a period of time before I leave." It's like, that is not easy. And so then you begin to really take the time to unify your thoughts, your will, your actions with God so that What? You could be a service of God because 'cause you're like, God is totally real, and, once you experience that divinity, you experience what happens in God's presence. You experience, "All I wanna do is serve God." That's your experience when you be with God. You're like, "Wait, that was me all the time. I used to be an angel. It used to be automatic. I remember you used to emanate that from you, and that's all I used to react to. Now that I'm back, I'm feeling that again, and actually it matches up what's in my heart. Get me out of here." And you're like, it's the perfect union. You're like, that's what has been missing the whole time. You put up uh, uh, a veil, so that I couldn't feel you, God. And the suffering is infinite because you're separated from the infinite, which is what you actually are. You're one with God. We're just experience that we're separate from God. So that, as we march forward through all the suffering and all we care about is want to be with God, God's like, I knew you would want to serve me. And so when you get back to that God is emanating that from God, you're emanating it from you. You're like, see, it's a link up. It's like, oh, all I want to do is my Mayor Mama pictures are on follow when I say that. Uh That's how it occurs. You see to say like you accept, okay, that's reality. Well, I can't I really can't do much against that. Uh so you better tell me what to do and help. I need infinite help actually, because this is an infinite. How do you get out of a dome? I don't even was there a dome opener up in here? I haven't seen one on Amazon. Yeah, send me that dome opener. Uh I haven't seen one. But, I wanted to sort of ground us in what is going on, and my job is, hey, perfect master avatar is show you God is real. That's all I was saying. God is real. The only thing that's real is God is real. That's what you experience. And then you're like, yeah, out of the illusion. That's eject me. That's the experience. So it's only the ones that go first to wake up first experience the most infinite suffering. The avatars first of the most suffering, and then the others actually experience a deep suffering from a longing for God and the absence of God being here. Yes, God steps in here and so on, but you notice God's absence. Yes, you see God in everything. This place is impossible. It doesn't even make sense how it runs. It's such a miracle. Everything is the air is clean, the water's clean, the sun goes and here comes the moon. Everything's a miracle. And so you begin to experience that you abiding in God. You're abiding in the experience that God is all around you running everything. That's the third journey in the four journeys in Maribama. As I'm trying to tell you, the lower plays are like the upper plays, like past the plays, like the seven plays are like the four journeys. You see, it's like what happens after you're still here in the body. You see, you experience God is real even when you have the ultimate experience, so you know everything that's going on. You're still here. Your suffering only becomes way more acute to keep that knowledge in the dome where they want it eradicated. They have complete control with the eradication of the experience that God is real. And especially problematic is if they experience God is real. Like when the bailiffs are frozen in the courtroom coming to get me, it's not only me who experiences God is real. And since they're a hive mind, they experience, that they're not really in charge, you see, and they experience a limitation to their power and they become fearful uh, at us because we become one with God. You see, we can end the suffering of others by propelling uh, knowledge and action forward. So being able to send a death prayer when I say that, and do it and see that you're suffering like somebody pulled a light switch and your suffering went off. It wasn't me. That's what I'm trying to say. Who is the only one that can end our suffering? God is the only one that can end our suffering. And I'm a character in this play just as much as you are. And if I don't have God, I don't have a message. I don't have anything for anyone. I'm nothing. Excellent advice. Okay, you need to get the field back. Yeah, thank you, Lee. And you will have the experience from reading it. And that's what propels us forward. Experience that God is really like, oh, thank you for writing it down, God. Whoa. Okay, it's making sense. I've been so happy to find the truth and to keep learning. Much to learn still, but I experience tremendous sadness too. Yes, that's the difficulty. And that's why I wanted to speak to you. I know you're in your own foxholes. At times we experience the bliss of God all around us, and at times we experience the total absence of God. We're like, wait, I'm still here in the body. Don't you love me? Like, why? Wasn't I? Weren't we? Didn't we meet? And did we? I felt like on my end, we made a plan. Like, I should be out of here right now and stay out of here. Didn't you feel that for me? Because it felt like you were feeling things on my end, God. Right? Weren't you feeling me over there? Like, get me out of here. Was it? Was I? Did I equivocate? Is somehow on my end? Because I'm not equivocating. Just get me out is my only message. Get me out. uh, is so you become like, a lighthouse. I have the same message all the time. Just like you, God is like 33, and you're like 33. Get me out of here. Yes, I get same message back to you. Mirror, get me out. Start waving the mirror like on a light and the sun. Yeah, hey, sun to sun, out. So yeah, that's our suffering becomes infinite. You wanna have the experience with God, and your suffering evaporates. And that's why I call God the pusher and the catcher. He's like a pusher. You're like, give me the bliss back. Give me whatever. Shoot me up with God again. Give me God. But also God's like pushes you off the ledge, the pusher. You know, and God later is you're like, ah. You God catches you like, "What, you didn't think I was gonna catch you? I thought you said God is real. You knew I was gonna catch you, right?" So, but then repeating that so many times as so many miracles, you're like, "Okay, I guess this is the way we do things up here, God. Okay, great." But there is a time limitation becomes incredibly important for people to know who are experiencing infinite suffering of the separation from God. Before you weren't experiencing it, you're like, something is wrong. Who am I? You had an innate desire to answer that question, but once you've answered the question, you're like, "Wait, I'm totally separate from God, and that was God." I just you say like enough rapping on the bars and bend the bars, God, get me out. Bend the bars. That's whatever you do miracles, bend the bars. Get me out of here. Say what I gotta do. Just tell me what it is, and that's what I'm gonna do. That's why my the way I think of my work spiritually, I'm like, God, send me a thought. You say and I do. That's our relationship. Just tell me what to do, and I'm gonna do it. Because you're always right, and I apparently got myself into this predicament. So, tell me what to do. Thank you, because all I want to do is get out, and that's all I want for you is, out, out of the suffering. Okay, because God is real. Okay, this illusion seems very real, illusory, and reality being mixed up from like that passage I spoke about. You see, your suffering is real enough. Yes, this feeling of separation from God is real. That's what's driving your force of will to get out of here. So it's real enough, eh? Uh, so reality and illusion get intertwined like that. You know, discomfort in the illusion and non-satisfaction with the illusion is what drives you to want to just experience the lack of that. And the only thing that is real, God, give me back, we're one. And God's like, yeah, well, not gonna do this to you forever, so have a little extra suffering on top, and then, let's make sure you really want it. Uh, like, I already experienced God, of course I'm gonna want it. That's the one thing, the one experience, there's no memory wipe. You see how it continues to drive you, it drives your suffering. You see, it doesn't get wiped away. It just your suffering becomes more acute. Your longing for God becomes more acute. Your feeling of separation becomes more acute. You see, from your experience of God is real. You want God to step in and show you God is real? This is what you gotta do. And then you do it and experience it, and then you have the ultimate moment of knowing, you know Sat Chit and Ananda, right? You know the truth, feel the bliss, and you experience the power of that in changing your actions. But it has the power of suffering here in the illusion. That's why I experience infinite suffering. There's no way that people can understand what I have to do to go forward in this time period when being first. But as you get closer to God, you can start having your own suffering. You start to get it. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm over here saying, "Oh, hey, I'm whining about suffering." No, I'm trying to explain that you're going to experience God, but you're going to experience, the opposite of God once you get back in here, and it's very difficult. So uh, that's what we have to, ask for God's help getting through. Is that it's not easy, and so gathering together can help with that. Oh, hey, give me a hug. Yeah, uh, how you doing over there? You see, and just solidifying that's what we're going to keep doing is heading home to God. And yeah, I'm in the rebellion. It's hard, but it's way harder over not in the rebellion. That's now that you know, it's like you can never go back. So let me read some of this. Sorry, I got through that thought there. Yeah, your sadness, JB. I hope I was addressing that because that's part of. I know. Oh, you want to reach God? Okay, and then I gotta work on the come down after it. You know what I'm saying? Which is real. So I'm trying to do that. It's like okay, like tremendous sorrow and giving inside is tough and balanced with bliss. Yes, that's yeah. It's like that's the mantra of our situation, and why so many sort of don't ask for that suffering that comes with knowing God, but it ends, and time goes away after we're not here. Yay. Jay, like a hockey game penalty box. Yeah, it is kind of, except for the penalty box is over and we got to go back into the game. So it is a lot like that. Yes. Get a little time out with God, and then it's like, yeah, don't get punched in the face in there. Okay, in you go. Yes, yeah, totally, Jay. Good analogy. Thank you. Uh, you have good and bad days. Blessed is so grateful to know God and to have been chosen in this incarnation to leave if I act the part, and then everything I wanted to do doesn't matter unless for God. Yeah, it's totally a shifting your consciousness. It is such an you're like, wait, what? Your foundation of reality is removed, and so you're building a new foundation of reality that's God. And a house, your previous house of illusions doesn't stand if there's no foundation. It's like, oh, it's blowing 8 miles an hour. Well, there goes the house. There go the foundation went, and the house went. Poof, all gone. You just stand there naked under the dome. Okay, I see that dome now. Okay. Uh-huh. I really see it because I was just outside it, and now that I'm back in, this is just all I see. Yes. Like the ego will throw tantrums and kick and scream here and there like a child on yes, in a story that can't have that candy on the shelf. Yeah. And so you need knowledge is what takes control of that. Boy, this guy is on fire today. Yes. And it is hard for me to talk and you to type and not, be able to speak to one another. And that's I would be really happy about a gathering. I love, hanging with Mike too. Because great comedy is about really good timing too, which he has. So Lee, Peter teaches count it is as a joy to suffer. So I want to get there. Definitely a challenge for me. Yes, in the end, it becomes a mental and sort of a heart anguish. Once you achieve meeting God, then you're like you have such a suffering after whatever level it is. You see what I'm saying? Even if you're like, oh, hey, my Kundalini came out. I just hit this. I made it. Where you're moved from zero to the first play, you're like, I made it. Yes, I finished. Yes. You know, you only get so much, bliss and everything of God at one time. We like blow apart and become like a Meiju, we just sitting there, drooling at God and can't come out of it. So to achieve the entire journey and leaving and never reincarnating means a constant the bliss of God, then the suffering after. Then I kept going through that suffering, bliss of God, another plane, right? And there I think of it as like seven sort of mini experiences like that on the way to the big one at the end of each plane. Each one getting us ready as we go for more and more that we can sort of build a frame that can hold the knowledge and the experience of meeting with God. Because the frame has to hold together as we come back and suffer each time and make it up to the next one and so on. So it's meeting with God and then coming back in the body, that's the suffering. And then, seeing all this around us and becoming one with God means becoming one with, yeah, God on the outside, but also God is running this game. So you're one with the suffering in here too. It's just like, man, it's too much. It's way too much. Like, God, stop the suffering. And God's like, no, that's the game. And it's like, no, that's not a game. I want to be playing it ever again. Just get me out of here as fast as possible. Too much, too much, too much. So, as fast as possible? You mean like in 8.5 years? Ha ha ha. Now you know. It's like, wait. You start to find out from your suffering, God lets you know, okay, it's going to terminate. Oh, I guess that's helpful. Thank you. Wow. Totally not what I was expecting, but thank you. So knowledge is, constantly what I mean with Gypsy, like, oh, I bought a new knife to murder myself with. I can't take it no more. It's like, yeah. He's like, how long is there? Like 8.5 years. He's like, ah. Yeah. It's too much, to be separated from God after meeting with God is just too much to be here. The suffering is just too much. It's like, yeah, are you gonna tap out? Or are you gonna keep going? So to see the plays for what they are, and in this section of duality, the duality dome we find ourselves in, if you want to experience the bliss of God, guess what's going to happen afterwards? You see? And so, can you fight through that and get to wanting to experience God as real again? And can you just, through thick or thin, right? God's gonna step in, whatever's gonna happen. So you just stay with God the whole time, you see? And you give thoughts of separation and longingness and so on. You're like, okay, thanks, God, for reminding me how much I need you to step in. Hey, since you're reminding me with all this suffering, how about could you make it today? Why not? Think about it. Yeah, helps you pray. It's a challenge for everyone. That's kind of what I'm going into today. It's not just a challenge for you, it's a challenge for everyone. That's our challenge. And so it's just more an acceptance of that and a knowledge of it. It makes it so it doesn't have power over us, if that helps. Okay. David, you suffer. Look how you keep going with all this work. Yeah. Thank you for that. It's not easy. It really isn't. Yes, and thank you right back to you, Jamie, because you're like, "Oh, I made it through from Canada to America to God." You're like, you open up a path, you're like, "Oh, man, does anybody else wanna come through here?" And you ask, and you're helping people, yeah, that's what there's Hal and Mukum, are 2 terms when you have a God, realization or experience going up the plays. You have Hal, which is a bliss, and you have Mukha, which is these are two Sufi terms you find in God speaks. Uh, you have the bliss, but then God tells you, okay, now do this. You're like, wait, I just opened Canada. It's like, yeah, you did. Uh, Want to help anyone else get through? You're like, yeah. It's like, okay. So God gives you a job to do spiritually. You see what I'm saying? Like you experience bliss as a whole, and then God's like, hey, I have a job for you. That's the book of that's like the work you have to do. That God, outside of your day to days, you're like, wait, what? Yeah. You you're told what to do by God. And you're like, okay. Because you were saying, right, your prayer was, "Tell me what to do." You say, "I do," right? Okay, tell me what to do. And so I get out of here. God's like, "This is what you do." Okay. You're like, "Oh, okay. Let me swallow that pill and see how it goes down." But we find ourselves in each individual foxhole, right? Out here, we have the knowledge that we have, and God sent us individuals or experiences or things to do, and people come along and we help them as best as we can. We become, the ones getting people out of here. The rest of them are just keeping people in here. They're increasing their suffering, but there's no one sees any light at the end of the tunnel. You become the light at the end of that tunnel, the tunnel of suffering for people because you're like, okay, even if they don't choose it in this lifetime, you plant the seed for them, the whole other seed. It's implanted. What? They have a miracle. They can't chain me, arrest me. You don't think the hive has a you don't think that changes their tactics completely? Oh, yeah, and it's we have God on our side. We have, they just have creation. We have the creator. It's like, y'all are a little too, uh, desirous of the you know, and not understanding you want the creation. What are you talking about? What are you You've lost all possibility of logic over there. You're running on emotion over there. Your emotion is fear. No good. Can't make any progress doing that. But the creation is just so, yeah, whatever. Look behind the veil. How about that? That's how you're going to get somewhere. You see? As what you see behind the veil, it's like, the God's like, yeah, I'm closing the curtain. You're like, no, you're not. Yeah, I am. Oh, and then you're left here, you're marooned again. And the only thing is, God is real. So you're like, okay, tell me what to do to get out of here. Okay, so I just wanted to talk about those basics, okay, today, because they're really what you see and experience a miracle and that God is real, especially a group of people experiencing that and your home becomes a sanctuary for God after that being totally impossible. Uh you're left with this experience that God has made a part of what happens to us as we go through this. It becomes difficult. We have a longing for God because we experience God as real. That's what's happening to people uh continuously. You fight through the suffering. God is real to this level. Get me back to God. That's every time. That's it. All right. Mike, tell your friends and family, sorry for the mess. I'm currently under construction. Yeah, that's nice. Remodeling. That's true. Yes, like the Wizard of Oz, definitely. They're under the fear, they're under all the things that are invisible. They don't exist. And God is real, and so there's no power in things that aren't real. There's no power to solve a egg and fill in the paperwork, but you know, unless God makes it happen, it's not gonna happen because they don't want it to happen. Like, hey, quit following our rules to your advantage. It's like you do that. Yeah, but we don't like the way you do it. Yeah, but I can see that. And so I'm gonna ask for God to step in and help. Okay. Okay, then fine. You're good. What a game. It's sounds ridiculous in a way, doesn't it? It's Mir Baba and Jesus, they both talk about becoming a child to do this. You have to be like you have to trust your father to do everything in the end. You're like you become like a child. I can't do anything up here. Like I got to adulthood and realized I can't do the only thing I want to do is get out of the dome. You become like a child. You're like, I can't do it. What can I do? So I know I'm the one stuck in here. So you become like a child, and you're like, hey, yes, I do have a true father, and get me out of here, out. Just lift up your arms and be like, I'm you're like a child. Hey, pull me out of here. That's all I got. I'll just be over here, like become like a child. You're just like, you start calling for your mother or your father, right? You're just yelling. You just become just saying God's name over and over. Hey, get me out of here. You see how it's come back to the child status. But that's true knowledge. Of our situation, except what I experienced God is real and I experience it now. I know my whole situation and uh yeah, I'm just gonna keep yelling, get me out of here, God. That's pretty much it. That's yelling for your father. Hey, I'm in a situation and just I cannot solve it. So it's like screaming for your parent. You can't solve it. It's almost like becoming a baby. You realize I can't even if I got out of the crib or what would I do, Go in the kitchen, how do I make food? Like you're just how do I get out of the job? Is you're never gonna have, oh hey, fingernails cut dough. I didn't know that. Thanks for no, that's not how it works. God gets you out, or does it? No, it is some game. Okay. Let me make sure I don't have any other notes here. I wanted you to ground you. This is evolution. You're experiencing this inwardly, and I wanted to clearly put it to words. Remember, this happens each plane every time you go up, no matter where you are. This is what's going to be happening, and so you got to fight through that suffering and keep it positive, and eventually you'll be experiencing God again. That's the work. You won't. You're no longer a stone. Right? You're alive, you're in a body, you're experiencing separate from God. Before you weren't experiencing that. So it's this is what Jesus says born again, yes? Like you have this experience, you come back into this world into the body and you're like, wait, this isn't no. You realize where you're from and it's like you're born anew. You realize, wait, how did I even get here in the first place? You used to think like that. Now you're like, how do I get out of here again and make it a permanent? You know, I'm out. How do I make that permanent? That's all you. That's all you begin to care about. Uh, so you have to. The only way to do this is to experience it in the body. You can only win in the body, right? You can only experience the suffering of being here in this game that produces the longing for God, and so that produces our reunification with God. is the suffering and getting through it and accepting the truth. All of that. But it can't happen until it happens to someone first, and then it can happen to others after that. That's the way it works. That's God made it, you know, the only kind of jealousy that's good, Mayor Mama said, is spiritual jealousy, meaning this is a competition. This is we're competing for a slot to get out of here. We're competing with ourselves. We're competing with ourselves to leave the illusion behind and just go straight to God. We're not the way when you look at the numbers, you're like, it's impossible. I'm competing with everyone. No, you're not. You're just competing with you. And you can win you. You've already won you to this point. So they're not willing to have that competition within themselves, you see, and eliminate what doesn't want to go to God and keep you here. They're not willing to eliminate those behaviors, those actions. You're like, no, like, why would somebody to use an extreme example, like let's say, why would you want to go to Vegas and gamble after you met with God? It just doesn't. It's like it doesn't enter the mind as an option that would get you back to God and end your suffering. You're like, that would be stupid. And so many things get on that list of things, actions that you're not going to take. Uh, and so then you're down to fewer and fewer actions. Okay, what do I have to do? That's why Bear Mama was always like, "Hey, did you sleep last night? Did you eat something today? Okay, that's good." Because he knows it's so overwhelming. This knowledge of God is like, hey, try and do your day to day stuff. But once you find out God is real, that's just really becomes difficult to want to engage in life because you're like, I just want to engage in the part that's afterlife. Where's the afterlife? So he's like, how are you sleeping? Yeah, okay. Did you eat? Okay. Did you like what you ate? What did you eat that was really good? Things like that become, yeah, did you walk on the beach today? Did you get out and walk under the trees today? Did you do these things that help with the separation from God? Did you do those things that help? Did you ride a bike? Did you skateboard? What did you do your things today that make it acceptable to be here under the dome? Did you remember to do that? Okay, good. Please keep that up because this is a rough ride, right? Okay, cool, cool. That's what Mayor Baba would ask about, you see, and why. All right, all right, TD, glad you made it. I was just gonna wind things up. It's good to have you here, TD. Anything on your mind before I do that? I tried to talk today about, you know, God is real, and then the experience of having that in here, the difficulties and the suffering that goes along with it. It's worth it, of course. Nothing else is worth doing. So, if anyone, I'm glad you made it, Dee Dee. Hope you enjoyed listening to this. Uh, and so, gathering May 3rd through the 10th. Uh, if you could share this video out there, might help. If you could hit the 64-year time loop icon, that would be good, right? 4 times 4 times 4 times, yeah, 64. If you could hit it, that would be great. Truly, thank you for the support. I brought up suffering today because I know if they're putting the thumb screws to me like this, then they got to be doing the same out there to you all too. This whole new administration thing is a silent, behind the scenes uh, mind game. They're rolling down on us, making me invisible and making our life harder. I know that. But this is the prequel to God stepping in. So let's keep getting through it. Thank you for the support, everyone. Uh, let's pray for each other. We have each other to pray for. So let's pray for each other before we go. Right? These are great people, dude. It's a miracle that actually good people showed up, right? You're here in the beginning, it's like they all evaporated. And no, there are actually people, George. Yeah, everyone in here that's typed, honestly. It's great to have you. I'm looking forward to gathering with you, and I know you're looking forward to gathering with each other. So let's say our prayers for each other, and because this is it. These are the ones moving forward. So you really got to respect your fellow teammate out there has launched this far into truth, into God, and you'd be surprised how much meaning it has when you gather together with them. It helps, We can have contact with someone else, as we're doing this. Okay. So say your prayers for each other. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? May our Baba, Jesus Christ, Angel Gabriel. For everyone walking a spiritual path, they're all asking for your help. They're asking for a miracle. They're asking to experience God. They're in a difficult situation. They have us pinned down, and we need you to step in, God, and show you're real. And we really make it sort of like pretty continuous and sort of slow down the suffering in between the notes of God in between, please. Okay, so my prayers are for you and continue advancing towards God. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Until next week. All right. God bless you.